So welcome to the first episode of Laredoans Behind the Business. I'm really excited to get this podcast kicked off. And today's guests are Jason Kirkpatrick of Rock and Roll Pizzeria and Laredo Rooftop Bar and Lounge. And bartender Rick Acosta.
What's up, guys?
So welcome, guys. Thank you for coming on the show. And I really appreciate having you guys on here.
No, thanks for having us.
I'm super excited and I don't even know where to go from here. So
thanks for having us.
Yeah, just introduce yourselves a little bit and tell us about yourselves.
Jason Kirkpatrick with Rooftop Lounge and Rock and Roll Pizzeria, which is basically the kitchen down here at Rooftop Lounge. And this is Rick, one of our partners here, and he's got 22 years in the business and helping get everybody trained and to get better at customer service and just do a better job overall in terms of the service industry.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Yeah, well, like you said, my name is Rick Acosta. I've been in this industry a while with various companies, traveled with the training bartenders, stuff like that. Here to help Jason, whatever he needs. So we're trying to build this place up, trying to make that pizza known. It's excellent pizza, trying to really push that customer service because I really believe people deserve the best service if they go out and the best experience, So that's what we're here to talk about.
Sweet, man, sweet. The main reason why I wanted to create this podcast is because I did not find, or I could not find, a podcast, a YouTube channel, or some kind of form of promotion for Laredo businesses, for small businesses in Laredo, and I think it's crucial. The city is growing; it's growing really fast. But at the same token, people are wanting to get out. They're wanting to leave. They're wanting to get out of here. And I, at one point I was too, and I'm back from, I'm back. So, why not do something productive and help people out? And like I said, I just couldn't find anything like that. So I wanted to create this podcast, help small businesses, promote them, but also get to know the owners behind the business, get to know them on a personal level. And I think that's really important to me. Jason is super big. Whenever you come down to the bar, Jason is super big on, coming around to the table, saying, hey, thanks for coming out. I really appreciate your business. And that truly means a lot to me because, it creates that connection with the owner saying, hey, I appreciate your business. I appreciate you coming and taking the time out of your, night, weekend, day to support me, support my business. And like I said, I think that relationship is crucial, and getting to know the owner on that personal level, it speaks, many different levels. Jay, with that being said, man,
actually, let me speak on owning.
Go for it.
So I worked with tons of people, corporate mostly. Coming to the local scene, it's very different. You don't have the big money behind you that you can say, hey, we need to order this, and have this. Being at a local level, you need to know where to spend your money and what's important at that time just to kind of keep going, especially with pandemic stuff going on, and everybody took a hit with that, right?
Yeah.
But working with Jason has been one of the best experiences, even though, we're still trying to get it. I work for many people, man, and this guy is, he treats us like family. He doesn't even treat us like a staff. He treats us like his partners.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I really look for that in somebody where I decide to work for until, we start our own thing, and he's willing to help us grow, willing to kind of sit back and let the more experienced people run the show, while he's talking to guests and stuff like that. And like you said, it's real big that the owner's out there saying hi, and it's not an easy job. I'll tell you that.
Absolutely not. Jay, I know you have been wanting to build this bar for a while.
Yeah.
I met you back in, I started working with the gun store back in 2013. 2013, December of 2013. And I think I've known you.
Which gun store was that?
What's that?
Which gun store was that?
I was at Kirkpatrick Guns and Ammo.
That's right. Nice plug.
Shout out to Kirkpatrick Guns and Ammo. And I think I've known you since then. I remember you walked into the gun store on San Dario, and when Arena started opening up over here at Arena Boulevard, Jay was like, man, I have this vision of opening up this bar, and it's gonna be badass. We're gonna be playing, you know, rock and roll music, serving drinks, and pizza wasn't quite there yet. The vision of pizza wasn't quite there yet, but you know, what has the vision of the bar always been like? You know, has it always been there, or like was it just recently? You know.
I mean, I always liked bars and going to bars and hanging out with people, meeting new folks, making new friends, and just all out having a good time. But when we were younger, I remember my buddy Scott Irvin and I, we were doing pretty good in our 20s, and flipping homes and stuff. We had money, and we were thinking, man, let's open a bar. And then we said, nah, we'll probably wreck it or drink the profits. Or just a bad idea. So, you know, that just kind of forgot about it and just started, you know, just ended up doing real estate or working with family or doing whatever. And then when they built Arena Gun Club, they built this little side building here, and they had this end cap over here. And they asked me my brother and them asked me, well, you always wanted to open a bar, you want to do it? And I said, yeah. I said, but, you know, will you give me time to build it? Because I didn't want to go to the bank and borrow money. I wouldn't even know if they'd lend me, because after the housing crash, or 2007, 2008, credit didn't look so good. So they were super cool and let me build it on my own time. And it took really 4 years to build, because I was looking for investors and found some, but then the partnership idea, or what percentage of ownership they wanted for the amount of money they'd put in and not be there. And so we couldn't work anything out. So literally took about 4 years to build it. Yeah. And so if you look at the beams up here, they're all different, and it's got 16, I think they're like 45-foot I-beams that are, you know, 24 inches tall. They're all have different patina on them, right? Like, because some of them, we didn't buy them all at once because couldn't afford to. So I bought like 8, and then they sat out there in the grass out there getting rained and rusty. And then when the other ones came, when they finally came in, then we did the framing on the building. And so we didn't paint them because we just kind of give us a reminder of the work and the time that it took to put in here. So every time you look up there, or when I look up there, I go, man, this took a while. So don't screw it up. So that's
I remember walking in here when there was, you know, nothing, when Jason and Amador would bring me and there was nothing. Trying to get me to come work over here.
Yeah, no, and I'm always here with me from the start. We'd come out here all the time, and we'd look at the top, and we'd look at when we finally put the deck on top.
The rooftop.
Yeah, when we actually put the roof, because it was just wide open for a long time. Once we finally put up there, we'd sit up there and we'd look at that lake and say, oh, man, this is going to be awesome, man. This is going to be so great. Live music. And I'm going to say this, and I have to plug these guys because they're the reason, right? So in the 90s, there was you know, it's right when the Seattle music scene came out. There was like Nirvana, Pearl Jam, STP, and then there was Screaming Trees and Candlebox and Chili Peppers, Jane's Addiction, all this stuff, right? All this great music was coming out. And during those times, there wasn't a lot of rock music here. Yeah. But there was like Charlie's Corona, and you could go to their patio. And dude, that was in 91, 92 when I was doing it.
That was a little bit before my time.
That was before your time. But that place was really cool. And then some other guys got together, and I can't remember. It was called Conchitas, and that was a really cool place because it was right down there on San Bernardo, and you'd walk in. It was kind of like a shotgun place, and you walk past the bar. And in the back, there was like this yard area, and they built a stage, and there was cool old bands playing out there. And it was like Father Rooster and Close Call, and I think Moni had a band called 3 Foot 3, and I think there was
Jolly Ranchers. Even
but it was Mark. But it was before Jolly Ranchers. It was called the Marks. I think there were like 3 dudes named Mark or something. They were really good, man. And that dude he'd put on an American flag and he'd sing like classic rock. It was really cool. Yeah. So then they did that, and then after that there was Barileros live music scene. Place was awesome. That was downtown. And then Old Number 2, which is over here
on Sunday.
And that was Joe and them. And then so those guys kind of, I think, kind of like the ones that brought that live music scene. And I loved it. And I said, man, someday if I could ever do that, I'll do that.
And you've done a pretty good job of it. I mean,
we're trying.
You know, for the ones that I've attended, you've had Ruby Dice, Reverend Few, Maximiliano.
Oh yeah, Madame Radar played here.
Madame Radar too, yeah.
And they opened for Bon Jovi. Now they're opening for the Archangel. So I mean, we've had some acts coming over here. Yeah. Maximiliano was good. Then you got local talent like
Bucket of Six.
Manny Garcia.
That kid's a killer.
Really good guy,
He's 15 years old, rocking it, jamming
really
it. Shout out to Manny. Shout out to Bucket of Six.
Yeah, I think Bucket of Six is, man.
They're so much fun. So much fun when you come and watch them.
Sid from Voodoo Vibe. Jesus, Curly and Mark and them from used to be El Trio, but now it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
I forget what their name is now.
Chivato
But
or- no,
yeah,
that's-
Chivato with
yeah.
and Los Hellhounds. Oh,
Oh,
we
yeah,
had
yeah,
the
yeah.
Palacios brothers here. They kill it. They're awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, but one more thing I had to say, because I think there's still quite a few places trying to keep it alive. I know Rick was doing Electric Lounge, and he was bringing some really good bands and stuff pre-pandemic, and that pandemic hurt a lot of us.
Yeah,
And-
absolutely,
And
yeah.
some bars weren't blessed like I was. I mean, we were lucky that really good friend Art helped us with a catering gig that. Because of his generosity and his expertise, he was able to come over here. And during the pandemic, when we should have been shut down with no money coming in, we helped him with a catering gig.
And it helped many people out.
And it created a lot of jobs. So Art Menchaca, thank you. And then so there was Rick. So Electric Lounge not around anymore, but I think Cold Brew still does live music. AJ's does live music.
The Classic Tavern.
Classic Tavern.
Yeah.
So anybody who's doing live music, sometimes Roches brings live music on the side patio.
Yeah.
Live music is I mean, these guys are artists, right?
Yeah.
I'm not knocking DJs. I think DJs are great because they can play and they can cater the crowd and you know,
Yeah.
switch speeds on a whim, right? And you just
Yeah.
You can turn on a dime, I guess
Switch
you
the
say.
tempo, yeah.
But to be able to get up and know and play 30, 40 songs in one night and play them well,
Yeah.
and keep a crowd going, and that live music is that's something really special. So to me, I just thought if I could ever get in there
Yeah.
and do something like that, I would.
Yeah.
It's not as big a deal, live music in Laredo, as it is in bigger cities, obviously. Austin is a big music town, and even San Antonio's got some stuff, but there's still a lot of people that like it, and we're going to keep trying to do it as long as we can.
Yeah, let's
absolutely,
keep
yeah.
that live music alive. Nowadays, like, you know, it's turned mostly hip hop and everything, which awesome. Laredo has an awesome hip hop scene, but we still want to go back to our roots and, you know, like
Keep it fresh.
Yeah, well, I mean, you always want, you know, different. It's the vibe of the city. You know, you've got rock, live music is awesome. I love sitting there watching it, and I'm lucky because I get to work while I'm watching these guys.
Yeah.
And that's even, you know, it's an extra bonus. So
Yeah.
Real quick, if I may.
Yeah.
So Manny Garcia.
Yeah.
So the kid's been playing here solo.
He's a good musician.
Because he hasn't been able to put a band together. Obviously, you know,
Yeah.
there's an age thing. I'm sure at 16 he probably doesn't want to be jamming with 40-year-olds or
Right,
50-year-olds.
right,
And but he just got his band together, and he's got a 19-year-old drummer. I think she's a music major. I don't know her name because I haven't met them, but I've just seen videos of them jamming. And then some guitarist who's like 19, and then now Manny, who plays guitar and sings, but he was a drummer before he was a guitar player, so now he's on drums and singing until they can find a drummer.
Nice.
But they're going to be playing here November 12th, and that's going to be a killer.
November
And
12th. yeah.
I mean, his voice, his musical talent.
I was
that
blown
kid's-
away by him when he covered that song "Temple of the Dogs"
Oh,
by Hunger
bro,
Strike.
yes.
Bro, that
Yeah,
was
Hunger Strike by
like
Temple
that
Dog.
was the best cover I've ever
And he was
heard.
doing like both
Both
voices.
Yeah.
He was doing Cornell's and
Oh,
Eddie
man.
Vedder's voice.
Yeah, that was a trip.
That was intense. Like,
I wasn't watching it because I was downstairs.
Yeah.
But I had to stop what I was doing. And I was like, is he doing both those voices?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
Chris Cornell and Eddie. Like,
Yeah.
come on. Like to even try to attempt to sing
That's
that.
talent
is-
right there.
No,
Yeah.
and then when you see a 16-year-old singing songs, I mean, these songs were
Right.
Yeah,
it's
You
from
think
the
he'd be
90s.
into like hip hop or something?
So
but
he
he's
was
keeping
born
it
in,
alive.
you know, probably 2004 or
yeah.
something,
Wow.
you know. So, and for him to like all that music, and then he does. I mean, the kid will play the Police and Men at Work, and then
Yeah,
go into
yeah.
he'll play the Verve. He's all over the place musically, but he picks all the right ones, the ones I like.
Yeah,
for sure.
absolutely, yeah.
That's most definitely. I
Yeah.
mean,
Switching the tone here a little bit, Rick. You've worked with Jason here for a while now, right? I mean,
for a little while, yeah, man. I mean, I remember when Jason and I first met, he came to a place where I was working at, and I was bartending, and we didn't know each other, so he just came and kind of said he was just, you know, chilling, went out with his wife.
Yeah.
And before I know it, he asked me, he's like, hey, man, what do you think about coming over here? And I've always wanted to I love being a part of a place that grows or want to grow it. You know, I like to be a part of a team that does that supports each other and has a common vision. And so I came over here and I was like, yeah, this is going to be awesome. Then before I could even, you know, because it's a process,
Yeah.
like he said, it does take a process more for a local person rather than a corporation, right? Not saying that, you know, one's harder than the other, but it took a while. Then another company came in and I couldn't, you know, you need to survive. So I needed to go and take my opportunity there. And I don't regret it because I learned so much from that. and I'm just coming here with more knowledge now that I'm able to work with him and bring that knowledge and help out the team, you know?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
hopefully, you know, we're trying to get there.
And if you guys ever come out to Rooftop, Rick, I mean, I only really know like 2 bartenders. It's Rick and Cheese, but they're both Rick, including like Rick is one of the hardest working bartenders I
thanks,
have
man.
ever
Appreciate
seen.
it.
And you know, he's always busting his ass. Super friendly, super like, you know, super attentive. And if you ever feel like he's not attentive, it's because he's busy, you know.
Yeah.
Right? But I mean, Rick, you're one of the hardest working
Thanks,
bartenders
man.
I've
I
ever
really
seen.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, it comes with experience, you know, and every time I want to do something, I just 100%, you know, anything I do, I try to do it to the best of my ability.
Yeah.
And I believe when people come out and to have fun, you should give them that experience, you know.
That
All
energy
these,
back,
yeah, all these servers and bartenders want a huge tip, and yeah, people should tip when they go out. But if you're not giving the service, don't expect a big tip. You
Yeah,
know, I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
people work hard for their money. They deserve to go to a place that's going to treat them well. You acknowledge them. Sometimes we're a little busy, and we're all human. I can't get to you, but I know you're there, and so I'm going
Right.
to say hi, say I'll be with you. And for the most part, everybody's been real cool. Everybody that comes here is awesome. We love our guests. We know them by name, you know. So I just want to bring that energy to the rest of the people working here or wherever we can, and you know, so people can support these places. You don't want to go to a place that's giving you shitty service or
Yeah.
a bartender or a server has a shitty attitude. You don't want to do that. So
Yeah, absolutely.
I just try to do the best I can.
Yeah.
And I just want to add to that because I think Rick and I talked about it one time. And I'm always part of that conversation too. And Danny, we talk about it. And I know my parents would say this, and your parents would too, and probably yours as well. The idea is that so people work hard for their money, right?
Yeah,
And if they're going to
100%.
come to your place, your establishment, and spend their hard-earned money,
Yeah.
you better show some fucking gratitude.
Yeah,
by giving
absolutely,
them
yeah.
good service,
It's
and treating them
100%.
right, and showing that you appreciate they're here because there are 100 other places they could go to.
They're paying
Yeah.
your bills. I
Yeah.
mean, what
You
else
know.
do you want? You
Yeah,
know, if you're at a
practically.
job, I mean, just give a shit. That's
Yeah.
all we ask. I
Yeah.
mean, that's
Yeah.
all.
Care.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I
And-
mean,
We always say that.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah.
It's not hard. Just give a shit.
yeah, I mean, people don't know how much it takes to start this. They come in and be like, yeah, let's work. We're going to work. But Jason worked very hard for his money to start a place like this, who's giving money, or not giving money, but giving an opportunity to other people to feed their families, to help with bills. I mean, show that appreciation by just giving a shit and taking ownership of the place that you're at. It's. I mean, I don't know why you would not. I would be embarrassed to work at a place that doesn't give good service, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
especially where that's my background.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, with you bringing up your parents and the parents, I think that goes on to the next question that I have. Like, your dad was a business owner, so do you think that instilled into you, like you owning, Kirkpatrick Leather, even the bar or stuff like that? Because your dad owned Kirkpatrick Leather since
1950.
since 1950.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah, that's
Wow.
a long time.
Well, my
which
dad
is
was
Kirkpatrick Leather.
My dad was just a hard worker. I mean, he was, and he could sell. I mean, if he believed in his product, and which he did,
Yeah.
and it is a good product, and he could sell it, right? My mom, on the other hand, she was, she was just awesome. Like she had this passion for her job. So she helped my dad build Kirkpatrick Leather Company. I mean, so everybody goes, "Oh, your dad," but my mom was there with him from when he moved it to Laredo in 1969.
Wow.
And they built that together. But he was still kind of the boss, like he's the president. So when she would make suggestions, sometimes Dad wasn't like, "Well, my company." So she decided to start Kelly's Western Wear, and we had a 27-year run in that business, and we did
Wow.
really good. I think just when things changed a little bit, a lot of people started buying online. And then there was a big chain store came in, which was Cavender.
Cavender,
And then there was Casa Raul. It was great, wonderful people. I mean, they were in business long before Kelly's.
Yeah.
So you can't be mad at somebody for they ended
No,
up building this
absolutely
really
not.
beautiful store, like just right across the highway from us, because I
Yeah.
guess they had the land. And so between that bigger store, the big chain stores, and then the online stuff, which was crazy because you would have these websites like Boot Barn, and they would or whatever they were called. I'm making up a name. It could not be that.
Yeah.
So you could go on there, and they were tied in, like their inventory. They would have Justin's inventory on their site, like it's kind of
Like they integrate
integrated.
instead of having overhead, they just kind of
so
get from there.
if you wanted a pair of Ariats or Justin or Tony Lama or any of these boots, you could look on their site, and you knew exactly what was in stock, and you'd think that this Boot Barn place has it, but it's just some massive website, and you order from there, and it probably gets drop shipped from the actual factory, from Justin or Tony Lama, Lucchese.
100%.
And we tried to do that stuff, and then got some issues over whether or not we could do that or couldn't do that. And we're thinking, well, hold on a second. You let this other website do that. Why can't we do that?
Yeah.
And then so it became this issue. So I think where we were starting to get in there, and David Acosta was really helping us with that, and he did real good with that. So Kelly's we had a separate website. It wasn't even Kelly's. It was called like Boot House, or I can't even remember what it was called, because we had just started doing it. But after about a month, and we saw our sales were picking up. Okay, now we're kind of getting with the times too. We're getting it too. One of the big companies, I don't know if it was Justin, or I think the ones that own everybody, told us like we were doing something that wasn't in compliance with them. We weren't selling it below suggested retail, so I can't remember what it was, but we ended up having to not advertise some boots. Maybe they had an agreement with this giant
manufacturer.
So that didn't help, and then we just we had several businesses, and after my dad had already passed away, and then my mom passed away in 2016, and then so we have multiple businesses, and which is the one that was probably the one that's doing the least amount, and because we can't run them all.
Yeah.
So we ended up closing Kelly's after 27 years, but we had a good run.
Yeah, you
good
did.
run,
I
yeah.
remember.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that Kelly's was yours until just recently. And it's funny because my dad used to shop at Kirkpatrick Leather, which is like, because he was in law enforcement, so he'd buy all his holsters there and stuff. And at one point in my radio career, I had went to sell advertisements to Kelly's, and I would think, now that I think about it, it was your mom. Yeah. And I remember she intimidated me so much when I went in there. She's like, well, this and that, bring me back a better price. I mean, she was like, and I was new at sales, and I was so intimidated, but just how Laredo works, right? Like, it's so small, and you know,
everybody's
like,
connected one way or
man.
another, yeah.
And
Absolutely.
that's the other thing you're probably trying to get to. Everybody should support everybody.
Absolutely.
There's enough food out here for everybody to eat, you know?
Yeah.
And on that note, do we have time? Can I bring something up?
Yeah.
The timing of you calling and saying, hey, let's do this podcast, and I'm super grateful that you picked us to be your first one.
Yeah.
One, because we're friends, but I just think that's really cool, and I'm wishing you a lot of success, and I know you're going to do good.
For
I appreciate
sure.
that, yeah.
Because
No,
you're good at whatever
guys.
you do.
Yeah.
But we had just got together, a group of us, Edgar and Rick, myself, Belinda, I think Andrea, and
Who was it? Yvette.
And Danny. We were all just sitting around talking when they said, you know, how can we help each other out?
Yeah.
I mean, the Chamber of Commerce is great. Love those guys.
Yeah.
But not everybody is going to benefit from that. And the reason I say that is, like, you know, they have functions and events, but, I mean, if, say, a plumber or a nail salon or just electrician or
somebody that's
taqueria,
starting out, in other words, you know?
They may not be able to see the benefits from it. So we talked about how can we get a group together
Right.
of just local business people that can get together, this networking deal, and how can we promote each other's businesses. So we started this thing, Network in Laredo.
Yeah.
Now, Rick and Edgar are the ones handling the website. I'm terrible with all that. I can't even figure out the remote control of the house.
But Jason was kind enough and good enough to kind of host that, and we're going to be hosting some stuff here so everybody can get to know each other. And if, you know, we can pull resources at the end of the day, totally free. Everybody can come enjoy it. But if you need like a lawyer, if you need a plumber, if you need somebody, you have that network that's going to, you know, be able to do that. Or if somebody's starting out trying to start a business, can come and ask questions. Hey, how did you do this? How did this? You know, any questions they have. We want to be able to just share. Like I said, there's food out there for everybody to eat. The small business is a backbone of America's economy, I think. You know, and if it wasn't for all these small businesses spreading the money around, where would we be?
Yeah,
know?
absolutely.
So think about it. So say we got Belinda. She's got her friends on Facebook, and then Edgar's got his. You got yours. I got mine. You have yours. Yvette, Andrea, everybody, and anybody who joins this network say, all right, well, it doesn't cost us anything to like and share one another's posts on Facebook, for example.
Not.
And we all have different friends, so that introduces a little bit more audience to each each business. And we thought about, like, well, not only that, we all get to meet each other, and we can refer one another people. I tell you what, if I called Rick and I said, hey, you know an electrician? He said, yeah, I call Angel from AM Electric. Plug him in because he does all our work.
Yeah.
But if I said, if he said call Angel versus me finding, I don't care who's number one on the Google advertisement, because I know you can pay to be up there, or you can have a better website. Right. But his word means more to me than the guy who's on the top of that.
Yeah,
so I would probably call that guy.
Yeah.
Because Rick said it, or vice versa. And so I think that way, when we all get here and we have our mixture, the first one is November 3rd.
Third, yeah, November 3rd, 6 p.m. here at Laredo Rooftop
The first
Lounge.
one's going to be here. It's not going to be everywhere, but since we're the ones that we're putting together, I mean, it was just easier to book it here.
Yeah.
But we're not trying to be like, oh, it's going to be here all the time. We'll move it around.
Right.
to
Yeah, we
different
want
establishments.
to give everybody love.
But
So
we want as
Yeah.
many people to join as possible. It's called Networking Laredo, and it should have this. We should have the.
yeah, it's on Facebook. Look for it. Network. Well, I'll kind of send an invite to whoever wants to join that group, and I think we're going to make it public eventually.
There's so many things I wanted to talk about, and it's real quick. But can I let Edgar sit here and tell you about it because he's.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was rambling on about Networking Laredo.
Yeah.
And it was just some little thing we had talked about one night over some drinks and saying, how can we help each other? And then, but this is the mastermind right here. So while I was trying to explain it, he's the smart one, so I'm going to put him over.
No way am I the mastermind.
This
This is
Edgar
thanks for coming
Escamilla.
on, and I appreciate you coming on, bro.
Edgar, kind of tell him what you do, and then you kind of come in there because Edgar has his own business too here in Laredo. His name is Edgar Escamilla. So,
Well, my name's Edgar Escamilla. I have a small business called You First Financial Group. We're a small group of agents that specialize in life insurance, health insurance, everything leading up to a whole full-blown financial plan. So that's really what my business is. But however, we're not here to talk about that. We're going to be talking a bit more on the Networking Laredo and how that came about. And I know Jason is giving me a lot of credit for this, but he's really the guy that came up with the idea. And I kind of just said, you know what, I think you're on to something, and I think we could really all benefit from this. So the whole idea behind it is just finding a way of getting together a group of like-minded individuals that have the same end goal. And what's the end goal? The end goal is to make it, to be able to make your business successful.
Absolutely.
You know, regardless if you're just starting and maybe you're already an established business, but there can always be more business. And how can we help each other out by making a recommendation, like Jason had said earlier, just a simple recommendation, talk to Rick.
yeah, I mean, just to pull resources. If you need, you need somebody to maybe host a podcast for you. You need somebody to take some pictures. Hey, we know a guy, and it comes, like Jason said, word of mouth, which is probably the best recommendation because they know that they've already seen the work that person does.
Yeah,
Right, yeah.
And now there are some other organizations out there. Maybe you got to pay some kind of fee, and only those that belong to that organization are the ones that can participate. That's how ours is a little bit different, where it's open to the public and it's free, and all you have to do is just show up. We're gonna have a little name tag for you. Name in your business. We're gonna make that a requirement.
You have to wear the name tag.
Yeah, that is. Sorry about that.
Fumble.
Good thing it's IPA. What is it? IP certified or whatever, water certified. Yeah. So anyways, you do have to wear your name tag. Just to, very simple, your name and also your name of the business. It can be a little bit of an icebreaker as well, because there's some people that participate in some of these events and maybe they're a little shy.
Yeah,
on approaching another person. But if they see a name tag, oh, Rick, bartender, Rooftop, whatever. Oh man.
Yeah.
Tell me about what it is that you do.
Yeah. And, working at, I mean, we're not only calling business owners, we're calling anybody who wants to be involved in any of these businesses. Hey, if you want to help a business out too, if you can offer your services, whatever, I mean, like I'm still working on my business. So, but, I have a network already that I can say, hey, I have any question, how do you get this started? How do you, register your business? How do you get a bank account? I have all these wonderful resources that I could pull from.
Well, and think about that networking thing, like how this is, the timing.
Yeah.
It's so perfect that you called or whatever, because about this podcast, because we were just visiting with Cesar. Did you mention that when I stepped away? No. So Cesar works with, he knows more about what he does, but it's a group that works with veterans. And you were a veteran, by the way. Thank you for your service. I appreciate you. My dad was a vet too.
Yes.
So, and so he's going to do something with you, or hopefully at least talk about some stuff. I guess there's at least a way to show appreciation for you.
Yeah, shout out to Cesar at Mile 1, by the way.
Right. So let me just so you guys know a little bit about Mile 1 is it's an incubator. It's a place where if you're in a business that's just starting out, or maybe you're an established business and you need a place to work out of, that's where you want to be. So that's actually where I'm at. I'm still there. I work out of that office, and there's a lot of like-minded individuals who, like myself, are trying to make it. And this is a great example of how Networking Laredo is now coming full circle, because Jason has been bugging me all year. All year, Edgar, we gotta get this networking. We gotta do this mixer. What are we gonna call it? What are we gonna do? And just the timing is it's perfect, because we already set up a date. We have people involved. We have a unofficial board on board that are making suggestions and brainstorming on how we can put this together. It just so happened that one of the people that came on board is Cesar, the director of Mile One, and he's looking for local veterans that have a small business or have a business, or they're an entrepreneur. And here we are. Here we are. Working
how it works.
One.
So, Networking Laredo is working already.
Networking Laredo is working already. Definitely.
And your podcast, LBB.
LBB,
Yeah,
that's
there you
right,
go.
Yeah.
There you
Brains
go.
behind the business.
Yeah.
And just to touch up on the intro to the podcast, like I mentioned at the beginning, I wanted to create this podcast to promote small businesses in Laredo, because our city is growing really fast. And like I mentioned, like you guys at the beginning, people are wanting to leave, and I know I wanted to leave at the beginning too, but I'm back.
Yeah.
And but there are over 250,000 people that live in this city. Yeah. Why shouldn't there be, these small businesses? Why shouldn't they be able to thrive with that many people?
Yeah, and
You
plus
know
the
what I mean?
people coming in from Mexico
Absolutely.
too. That makes
and that too,
the biggest little
the
city.
tourism too.
Yeah.
There's enough love out here for everybody.
For sure, 100%.
It shouldn't be this. There is a Laredo stigma that I wanna try to break. That ese vato, or that guy, like, dude, there's enough love for everybody. If you don't want to maybe not support them, and okay, that's fine, you don't have to, but don't talk shit about them. Don't talk down about their business, because they're trying
it's hard
to
work.
pay their bills.
Yeah.
It's hard work. Yeah, absolutely, they're trying to pay their bills, so don't talk down about their business. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I think the opportunity that we have here with Networking Laredo, going back to that, is that Laredo seems to support other Laredoans, right? And sometimes when somebody's coming in from out of town and is trying to start up a business here, and they're trying to link up with a certain organization, maybe they don't have the right network to, maybe make certain connections.
Yeah. Right.
Where this is free to the public.
right, yeah.
Hey, bring your ideas in. We could learn from everybody.
Right,
We could
if you're
teach
from
everybody.
Out of town, you have some great ideas of how we can, help each other's businesses, or you want to look into starting your own business. It's a great opportunity to meet other
100%.
like-minded individuals and see where it goes, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it doesn't cost you anything to be nice and good to people.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't like you mentioned earlier. It doesn't cost anything for you to like the Facebook page, like the Instagram, share their posts. It doesn't cost anything.
Recommend, give a good review.
Yeah, it doesn't cost.
Yeah,
anything.
all those little things help,
Goes a long
like
way.
the algorithms or the whatever. Man, like you said, bro, we don't want to have that crab in a bucket mentality where it's me. There's enough food out here for everybody to eat. We can all help each other. If we support each other, that's just spreading the love around.
Absolutely.
I can't speak enough on it. But
Yeah, absolutely.
This is going to be a good show.
I appreciate
Podcast.
it.
I like that.
yeah,
I mean,
100%.
you're doing, Laredoans
100%.
behind the business.
Absolutely, yeah.
The timing to this, the way it's all coming together, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Well, it's like
100%.
I was telling my wife, and I told you earlier. Like I told my wife, and it just something hit me like from day and night. I was like, I have to do this. Like,
Yeah, and I'm
I-
glad you did, because
Yeah.
I've been talking about it with Jason forever. I just, life gets in the way, and I kept making excuses. And you know what? I was a little camera shy, but it took you to say, "Hey, let's do this." So I was like, "This is my opportunity to get everything going, and I can just jump."
We don't let Rick go. We're like, what, you going to work on your part? Nah. We're scared. He's on schedule.
You're busting your ass,
Hey.
You're a lifer, Rick.
Hey, man, I don't mind helping everybody out. I love bringing that.
Again, this can help you boost
100%,
boost yourself,
and we can
get,
have
get
like
over that hump.
Yeah, most
and get
definitely. I'm really appreciative that Jason invited me, that Edgar's having me in the group. Even though, I do have my business registered and everything, it's just not up and running. These guys are just giving me an opportunity, and I'm really appreciative of everybody letting me come in and help and show what I can do, because there's a lot of people who don't have the means or don't know. And again, going back to it, people like you all can help them shine.
Rick,
Yeah,
I remember, I mean, we've known each other for
a long time.
For
Yeah.
a long time. And I remember, when did you open up this place?
5 years almost.
2018.
It was, I don't even know
4
if
years
you were involved with the bar at the
I had come and Jason had already talked to me, but then Alamo came in and was like, boom, and they had an open. So
Well, we had a conversation, and I'll never forget that. And you were talking about your podcast.
Yeah.
You wanted to get
Yeah,
started.
yeah, it's been a minute.
And I can tell you're passionate.
yeah,
You're
yeah,
passionate behind
man.
it. I was
I've
like,
always
dude,
wanted to do something like this, but it took, I mean, I haven't been around this stuff. I was briefly in radio and stuff, but it's a little intimidating. Being in the service industry for 20 plus years and then pivoting to something totally outside my wheelhouse. And so you're like, where do I get started? And believe me, I have notebooks full of ideas and stuff. And I'm like, how do I jump in? And look, this
Exactly.
is a perfect
It's come full
opportunity.
circle because we were in this.
Yes, we were here.
in this
Yeah,
spot.
totally.
We were literally in this
Yeah,
spot
talking about it.
this.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Crazy.
See what you started?
Yeah, Jeff.
Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah,
Everything
yeah.
happens for. And
I think so.
I'm a big believer on that. Like I
Yeah.
know we're getting a little off topic here, but I'm a big believer in everything happening for a reason. And I guess this was the reason, right?
This
So,
is exactly
100%.
exactly the reason.
Yeah.
There's
So.
enough for everybody. Like it.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Hey, where can we? So Jason, you can find Jason at Laredo Rooftop or Rooftop Laredo on Facebook and Instagram. Rock and Roll Pizzeria on Instagram and Facebook. And Edgar, where can we find you?
You can find me on social media under it's Edgar E. or You First Financial Group, Laredo.
Jeff, what's your page called?
Yeah, so Laredoans Behind the Business, the podcast. It is actually on Facebook. It's Laredoans Behind the Business, and you'll see a little icon that says LBB, and it's in red and yellow. And as far as the podcast on Instagram, we're still working on the whole
Platforms.
Spotify and stuff, but it is. Yeah, it's the same thing. Laredoans Behind the Business. Yeah,
Awesome.
it's still all new to me, so I'm just
Yeah,
I'm having to look
100%.
back at the phone and look back at the Instagram page. But yeah, Laredoans Behind the Business.
Yeah, and I've gone back and forth with what I'm gonna call the podcast. I've chose like Speakeasy, this and that, but I'll eventually come to it. But you can find me at Rick Really on Instagram,
Yeah.
Rick Acosta Facebook. There's the YouTube channel up. Doesn't have anything. It's called the Speakeasy. Still working on a few things, but we're gonna get it going here pretty soon. So
There you go.
yeah,
Yeah, no, go ahead.
no. I'm really grateful to you guys. Thank you.
No, thanks for being on the show. I really appreciate you guys being on the first episode. It really means a lot to me. Like I said, I came up with this idea and I was like, man, I gotta get the ball rolling because.
Thank you.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm thankful to Jason for opening up this bar. It's brought a lot of people together. I mean, the idea is that, it's a cool spot to hang out.
Yeah,
Y'all should
absolutely.
come check it. I mean, come check the pizza out. Amazing,
That's
Jason.
where I was gonna get to
Amazing
next.
pizza.
Yeah, that's where I was gonna get to
awesome.
next.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah, the pizza and Jerry Ramirez. If you're watching this or listening to this, you gotta critique Jason's pizza because I know I'm a little biased, but it's one of the best pizzas in town. And Jay, if you want to touch up on a little bit on that, and
Yeah, Jason
and
was working
tell
hard
us,
on this recipe.
Gino's story, maybe.
Oh, Gino. We got a big shout out to Gino.
Gino, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, Gino. Thank you, Gino.
Yeah.
He's the one that taught us how to make pizza.
Yeah.
You'll have to go to the website, rockandrollpizzeria.com,
There you go.
and read the story of Gino Benicrudo. And you'll know the history behind this pizza. But it is really good pizza, and there's some great pizza places here in town.
Yeah.
I would say we're in the top 3 family-owned, non-franchise
There you go.
pizza places.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Of course, I think there's only 3, but we're in the, but we're in
you're
the top,
in there,
we're in the
though.
top 3. So,
You're in there, yeah.
So come
Numbers,
check us out,
numbers.
and it's really good pizza. It's an 18-inch thin crust pizza, and we sauce it all the way to the end. It's got a good crisp bottom. I think the secret to this is obviously using the better tiers of food, right? So
Right.
when you call your food supplier, there's like the bottom tier, the middle tier, and the top tier of the mozzarella cheese. We'll get the best one. Charge
Yeah.
for it, but give them a good product. And then there's a Turbo Chef ovens that we bought kind of on accident because we went to go look at some other ones, and they had this Turbo Chef there. And I remember Mandy sent a picture of that to my brother, and we were up there outside of Dallas at this place. I'll just tell you real quick.
Yeah.
And she sends this picture of this little oven. It says Turbo Chef, but it's kind of compact.
Yeah.
And so she sends it to my brother, and then he reaches out to a pizza guy that was helping me out, one of our buddies that has some pizza places in San Antonio. And he's like, how much for that Turbo Chef? Get it. Tell me to get it. So I remember Mike calls me. He says, get the Turbo Chef. And I'm like, I don't have enough money. I came over here for that other oven. He's like, I'm going to deposit in your account, write the check, and get that Turbo Chef.
Yeah.
And that guy was absolutely right. There's something about that oven. I think what it is you can control the temperature in the oven, but you get to control the percentage of that temperature hitting the bottom of the pizza and the percentage hitting the top.
Yeah.
So the bottom's we're cooking at 510 degrees, and we're throwing 100% of that 510 at the bottom of it, but only 35% on the top. So we're not just melting
charring the top.
Yeah, charring the top.
Yeah.
So I have to give it to that.
Shout out to your brother, man.
Yeah,
for
thank you, Mike, for the loan. I'll pay you back soon. But it was the oven, the Turbo Chef, the good food we get from PFG, and we always buy the good stuff from them and get the good toppings, fresh toppings. Obviously, Mike, Mandy for finding that oven, and Rick, myself, and everybody else for tinkering with it till we figured out. We ate a lot of pizza trying to come up with the exact temperatures.
Yeah.
But it came out pretty good, and I would say whoever's listening or whoever sees this, please come out and try it. I hope you like it. And if you don't,
And
What do we
Jay,
take?
you got specials for pizza and beer, right?
Oh yeah. It's a pepperoni pizza. It's an 18-inch, a bucket of beer for happy hour from 5 to 8, Wednesday through Saturday. Come in, and it's $35 for a bucket of beer and a large pizza. Usually a bucket at some other place is $30. So you're getting a large pepperoni for $5, dude. And it's one of the best pizzas here.
Or vice versa,
Yeah.
you're getting the bucket for $5.
100%. Yeah. I mean, I don't know where, but where's the bucket for $5?
And how many beers come in the bucket?
6.
And I know we're plugging our pizza, but I gotta give a shout out to Wizard Wicks also,
Hey,
because let me
Wizard
tell you
Wicks.
something. Wickstrom makes a damn good pizza, and we're talking about live music venues. He's one of them, and that guy's got a big heart because every time there's somebody has a passing in their family or something happens, he does fundraisers all the time. It takes a lot of time out of his day.
Yeah.
I've seen him here supporting all the live bands.
Yeah,
he
he's
comes
a cool
out.
dude. But so he comes over here and he supports us. But what he does for other people is a big thing. He's got music. I like our pizza better.
Wizard Wicks has
but Eric, if you're listening, no, but he's the I think the first one that's been here, family owned, and that's like a super old, like
that's what I
awesome
was gonna
recipe.
say. They've been around for a long
no,
time,
like
right?
there's a story behind that whole recipe and everything. A lot more intricate than ours. Ours, we just got lucky and made a good pizza.
And we got lucky we met Gino's family.
And Gino's family, but they make a good pizza because they know pizza. But more importantly, they're good people, and I didn't mention them when we talked about the music scene, and I have to because that guy's real cool.
There you go.
So.
Yeah. There you go.
100%.
And still talking about pizzas, like you have several pizzas on the menu. You got War Pigs.
So our menu is themed on rock and roll.
There you go.
Thus the Rock and Roll Pizzeria.
Rock
So
and
we
roll.
kind of, Jason came up with the genius idea of naming it after songs like there's No Sleep Till Brooklyn, which
There you
is an
go.
all cheese pizza. If you're looking for something original, come try one of our signatures, the War Pigs.
Yeah.
A pulled pork.
War
It's
Pigs
got
is my favorite.
Yeah, War
it's
Pigs.
awesome. I didn't think I was gonna like it. I tried it. It's got pulled pork, jalapenos, a little spicy marinara, some bacon. Wow.
Spicy meatball pizza is called Great Balls of Fire.
There you go. Yeah. That
You
one.
like veggie pizza? We got Smells Like Green Spirit.
I love it.
Then there's
love
a one with black beans, kind of a black bean base and cheese and chorizo jalapeno, and that one's really good served with a fresh salsa. That one's called Black Magic Woman. That's another good
awesome.
one. But we got a
Pizza
new one
Palooza.
for those of you that like cauliflower pizza. We got a new one. It's called Going Back to Cauli.
Yeah, I like it.
that.
I like it.
I like that.
I like it.
And,
Definitely.
I just
Throw in a
wanna
little
say,
hip hop.
We my wife and I, Amanda, we probably were not the ones who initiated the pizza, even though we kind of like to think that we are. But when we came back to Laredo on leave back in 2019, it was November of 2019, and I was back on leave. And my wife at the time, she was pregnant with my second child.
I remember.
Or it's 2019 or it was 20. One of the it was right before I got out of the army, and she was pregnant. She's like, does Jason sell pizza at his bar? And I go, I don't think so. I think he's just getting it up, but we could ask, And
We had a totally different menu, actually.
Shout out
Yeah.
to Amanda. Thank you, Amanda.
Yeah,
for sure.
and ever since then, you've had the pizza on the menu, and we like to.
Yeah, because we had a totally different menu. We had some bar foods, which was phenomenal. But pandemic, you got to, pizza's pretty good margins. It's good food. Who doesn't like pizza?
Yeah.
It was a no-brainer right there. Jason killed it with the recipe. So
I'll tell you what. I just recently found out about this cauliflower pizza, and I didn't believe it. I
know,
didn't
right? When
think
you hear-
Jason had it in him.
when you hear cauliflower, you're like,
Right.
pizza and cauliflower?
Really? I
It's
don't
actually
think so.
I
pretty
don't
good.
need cauliflower pizza. Look at me.
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
So you chop up the cauliflower and you put it on there, or,
No, that-
or it's completely
No.
made out of cauliflower.
There's a company called Cauli Power,
Oh.
CA, and I think they sell them at the grocery store as well. But they also sell a bigger one for the commercial, like a.
The crust.
The
He's
crust,
talking about the
crust.
dough, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So we actually buy the crust from them because I remember talking to my brother Mike, and he was like, "Hey, I tried to make a cauliflower crust pizza." I said, "How'd it go?" He goes, "My house stinks." And cooking up this he says, "Trying to cook up this cauliflower or whatever, you have to do whatever." And he's like, "This shit stinks when you're trying to cook
Mike
it."
eats cauliflower.
Well, he goes in that, and that he tries to
That
eat a
was
little bit
a
better.
joke,
I don't even bother. But Mike tries. I'm just like, nah,
Sorry,
screw
Mike,
it.
I know it was a
I am what I am now, right? But yeah, it's really the best one. And we looked around, we tried several brands, and that's the one that we let our friends and family taste it and decide which one was the best one to go with.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like chosen by committee. We just asked everybody that wanted to come over and try that cauliflower crust.
Yeah.
And that's the one that we settled on because that's the one that was the best. That was the consensus between everybody. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And even I liked it. I don't really like cauliflower. I don't like healthy food. but it was
Yeah,
good.
we're also like if you go to the food, there's an app called Food for You. Because we don't have delivery yet. It's
We're working
kind of
on
hard.
it.
Yeah,
We're
we're
working
working on it.
Yeah.
We're working on add-ons to the menu as well. But Food for You, there's an app called Food for You. It's kind of like the other delivery services. You could go through there, get that if you want to deliver it at your crib.
They're local as well.
Yeah, they're actually local.
yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, see, we're trying to support those local little businesses there. Food for You is one of them. They've been helping us with the delivery.
And not only are they local, I think they were the first ones in town doing it.
Yeah,
Food for
yeah.
You was here before DoorDash or Uber Eats or any of them. They've been around a long time.
I want to say they were doing it like through Messenger on Facebook.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dang.
Yeah, before
Okay.
they got
Shout
the
out to
official
Food
one.
for You.
Yeah,
You guys,
100%.
yeah.
I didn't know that. I just realized that right now. Wow.
Wow.
It's local.
Yeah.
That's crazy. You could also call us. We'll have it ready. And if you just, once in a while we have time or whatever, we're not too busy. We'll even take it out to your car. It's real good
And
stuff.
what's the number that they can call?
It's Jason
956 568 2400.
That's right.
568-2400.
See, I don't dial it. I just answer the phone. Hey, thank you for calling.
Rock and Roll Pizzeria. This is
Yeah,
Rick.
for sure. Yeah, man, and it's pretty good pizza, man.
It
Very
is,
good
yeah.
pizza,
Yeah,
actually.
it is one of the best pizzas.
Oh, and not
Personally.
only can you order it by the pie, we have it by the slices. So
By
if
the
you're in
slice,
here
yeah.
drinking a few drinks, get hungry, get
And
the
that's
munchies,
after
we've
the
got
kitchen is
slices for
closed,
you.
right?
Oh, yeah, we still buy the slice till 2 a.m.
Yeah, there you go.
I
So-
mean, if it's available, because those
How
things
much for the
people.
slice?
It's $5. but
$5
it's,
for
it's
a
a big
slice.
slice.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a pretty
it's-
big slice.
yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
It's
I'm-
fat, like Austin slice. Like,
Yeah.
remember
Yeah.
leaving the
Probably about
bar
as big
and,
as this.
Yeah.
ashtray, maybe a
Yeah,
little bigger.
bigger. Yeah. For
it's
sure.
I would even go to say it's almost as like, well, maybe not, but like Big Lou's pizza slice, like. But that's kind of
that's
kind
a
of big.
longer slice, but
yeah,
you know
just a
this
little
is
bit
it's a
shorter, yeah.
pretty big. It's 1/6 of 18, so about
Yeah.
6 inches. Like
It's a big
something like-
slice, regardless, and
Yeah.
you get a lot for one slice. You get a lot of food while you're drinking.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
Yeah,
So-
and we're even coming up with happy hour specials where if you order 2 slices and a drink, but just look on our social medias again. Rock and Roll Pizzeria, Laredo Rooftop Lounge.
There you go.
We'll be posting that.
There you go.
Yeah, and come try some of our drinks too. We're also working on a consistent uniform drink menu. We have good Moscow Mules. We
There
have
you go.
good.
My favorite drink here at the bar, and it is Amanda's favorite drink too, is the what's it called? The Mexican candy.
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah,
my
yeah.
God, you got well, okay, I'm super biased because I haven't gone to any other bar that sells Mexican candy, but I mean the way you guys make it is super good.
I think
and
so,
Amanda
too.
agrees too. Like she
Yeah.
loves it.
I mean, it's a common drink here in Laredo, especially on the border.
Yeah.
We have our own version of it. We're not going to tell you the secret ingredients, though. But yeah, it's a pretty good drink. You can't. I mean, we voted on a version of it. That's the way we make it. You could take it as a shot or a drink. either way.
Yeah.
And if I can just plug one more drink.
Yeah.
And see, because we haven't even talked about Danny, right? He's been with us
Danny.
since day one.
Since day one.
Before
Shout
we
out to
opened.
Danny Briones.
So it was back in like 2019.
It's Daniel Taco Briones.
Yeah.
No, it's not tackle, it's tacle.
Oh, Taco.
So anyway, Danny was like, whenever it was, 2018 and 2019, he comes up and he says, what do you think of this shot? And I take this shot and I'm like, man, that's really good. I go, dude, this is good. You make this? He says, yeah, I just made it up. I said, what do you call it? He says, let's call it the Rooftop Roofie. And I was like,
yeah,
I was like, dude, we can't call it the Rooftop Roofie. And he was like, why not, boss? And I was like, because it just, no, I don't know, man. So for a long time, it was just called a Rooftop Shot.
Yeah.
And then everybody I would tell, and it included friends and family and like my sister, my wife, they laughed at the name. They're like, why aren't you calling it the Rooftop Roofie? It's kind of it's funny, man. So
Yeah, but you don't want people to think that you're fucking drugging them.
that's
Hey,
exactly
we
what
don't
it
give
was.
out free stuff in the drink, so
Yeah.
no. No, I'm just kidding.
But I remember it being like, so people would say, can we get a Rooftop Shot? But then when they caught wind of the name, it was even funnier to them.
Yeah.
But it's actually a really tasty shot. And
it is. It's an easy to drink shot.
and
if
that's
you're just partying.
that one, and I think the Mexican candy are probably the most popular shots here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
100%.
But just got to talk about Danny because he's our manager and he's been with us since day one, and he's a hard worker. He's not here today because he's taking care of his little kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to Danny, man. He's here all the time
Yeah.
with Jason. So
Yeah,
I
definitely.
mean,
Rick, what is your favorite shot to okay.
man, I'll tell you what. There's some nights where I make so many Mexican candies, I feel like a freaking Mexican candy, you know. But I like making it all. I mean, it just depends. Sometimes when it's packed to the brim, like it's hard to make like those little cocktails that take a little process, like a Moscow Mule,
Yeah.
old fashions and stuff. But we'll still make them, you know, down here at the bar because upstairs we have a more of a limited a menu, so we kind of shy away from those drinks just because it's a real busy place. We want everybody to get their drinks in a timely manner. Down here's where we make the cocktails and stuff. I mean, there's some days where, you know what, dude, I'm only human, and sometimes I'm like, damn, 2 Moscow Mules, Mexican candy, old fashioned. There's like 20 people waiting for a drink, and I'm like, oh God, okay. But you know, I'll still make them. Like it's my job too, so I am going to make them.
Yeah.
But you know, it's fun, man. Being creative too with the drinks. It's kind of one of the like bartenders. Every bartender can relate with me, I think, on this one where they're like, surprise me. And I'm like, oh God, here's some water.
Yeah.
I'm gonna charge you $8 for it. I'm just kidding.
My wife did that the other day. I was like, dude, what if he doesn't know what to make you? Like,
Yeah,
you don't know, like
I
she
mean-
doesn't, like, you know, Rick doesn't know what you're.
Yeah,
feeling
it's
or,
just
like, what you're
being
tasting.
and in that position, you're kind of pulled in a few different directions.
Yeah.
And you making decisions all the time, and you're like, damn, I have to make a decision for somebody else.
Ricky, that's when the Rooftop Roofie comes in.
Yeah, 100%. I always go to that, like, boom, or the Mexican candy, like, here we go, let's just go this route.
That takes me back to we were talking about why do you want to have a bar, and I said, well, because there are these guys that have these bars with live music, and I love that, right? That's just So Body Littles, I was talking to the guy that used to own that place named Homer, and he was telling me that when they first opened up, Body Littles, it was just a beer and wine license, and he said, dude, we sold so much, and they didn't carry all the beers because they were like, what for? If someone's going to be here, they're going to drink whatever beer's here.
Yeah.
Which is a good idea, really.
Yeah.
And he said someone would walk in and be like, hey, I get a scotch and soda. He'd hand him a Bud Light, and like $4 or $3. Like,
Oh my gosh.
You know, hey, can I get a? You know, somebody,
It's
can I get a
so funny,
Heineken? He'd hand him a Bud. And be like,
Bartender
$4.
problems.
And he said, but they were doing so much business back then because, especially back then, there wasn't very many places. It was like one was kind of doing it, and then when he kind of changed his MO a little bit, I think at Charlie's, that's when Conchitas, and then when they got tired.
Yeah.
No.
So Edgar had to leave. Appreciate Edgar coming on to the show, talking about networking Laredo, or what is it called again?
Yeah.
Yeah, networking Laredo.
Networking Laredo, and
He-
you know,
he's
all the
got
stuff that
to
gonna
go
do.
get ready for a basketball game. See, Rooftop Lounge has a basketball team in the shout out to Sonny in the 0 to 100 Sports Complex, Laredo Academy of Basketball.
Yeah.
They built this beautiful gym out there in
Awesome.
International.
Super
And-
nice, yeah.
And they did a Legends League, what they call it Legends League, but they should just call it Old Timers League. But
We're out there limping around.
oh yeah, it's 35 and over. And I told him do like a 3-on-3 league, and he comes back. We did a 5-on-5. I said, what's wrong with you, Sonny? I said, nobody's gonna join.
Hey, do I qualify for that, or am I still
No,
too
you're
young?
too young. You're getting that other one.
Hey, but the Army aged me 10 years. So.
There you go. In Army years, you're
Well, it depends on how you play. If you play really good, they're going to complain. If you don't,
okay.
Danny's in it. Nobody knows, but look, he's all beat up.
Yeah, but he's a football player. That doesn't count.
So Edgar went to go represent the Rooftop Sharpshooters. we're on a streak right now.
There you go.
It's a losing streak, but we're on a streak. We're 0-4, but today.
Oh,
I
bro.
said what kind of streak?
Yeah, we'll just leave it a streak.
Man, bro, I was limping out there the only play I played. Like,
But-
we went for a fast break and I fell down.
I don't know, but I was telling you the story about. We're talking about the bars. I got to go back because I just thought about again with
The Barileros?
The Barileros. So Homer told me when he had Barileros, and when they opened up, it was different because there wasn't a lot of places to go see live bands. And dude, they were doing such a killer job. I mean, that's what like inspired. I would imagine like maybe someone went to Charlie's, they went to Austin or something, and then they opened up that Conchita's place, which was super cool. And then I think after that, after they closed for whatever reason, I think. Believe it or not, I think they had a lease and it was up or something because they were doing really well.
I remember.
But then the guys opened up Barileros and it was Homer, and I don't know if Joe from an old number 2 was part of that with him over there, or if, but I know Kike was over there with him and a handful of other guys. But I think Homer was the one that the main guy behind it. Well, when he had Barileros, he told me, and I just love this story. He said they were so busy, we'd go and they were jammed up and they had bands playing over there. And like I said, Father Rooster, Close Call, I don't know. 3'3", the Marks, handful of other bands. I can't remember all their names, right? But he says he only carried beer and wine.
Yeah.
But people would walk in, and they were just so busy. I mean, they built this bar themselves, like him and his dad or something, this wooden bar, and real pretty bar. But and all they had was beer. So people would walk up, and they'd say, "Hey, yeah, give me a black and soda, or give me a." Whatever, give me a whiskey or whatever, and he'd just hand him a beer, and he'd be like $3, and they'd be like, well, okay, I guess it's Then some guy walk up and be like, and they carried a limited selection, just a lot of it. But he said someone would walk up and maybe order a Heineken, and he just hand him a Budweiser. Or a Miller
That's
Lite.
every sarcastic bartender's dream. Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna give you what I want.
And it was like we're so busy. I mean, I can't carry everything. It's kind of take it or leave it.
Yeah.
And I think like live music joints like that, and some people call them like dive bars, which is actually a cool name, right? But those live music places, a lot of them don't really do the whole super extensive bourbons and whiskeys and all these craft cocktails and stuff. And we've got into it because bourbon's a big thing and scotch is a big thing down here in Laredo.
Yeah.
But I can see why that's kind of cool too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, they did that, and then so they had their run. I think their lease was up or whatever. Maybe the guy's a firefighter or something. And then after that, then old number 2 came to play. But it was never all at the same time. So there was always just somewhere cool to go.
Yeah, I remember when Cold Brew was over there,
Brew?
back at that little placita, and it was a little spot like that, and there would be a band.
And Cold Brew still brings rock and roll. And I think the only 2, there was them, and then downtown on the Rocks, right?
Oh yeah,
and then Electric Lounge which was Rick's. COVID was not kind because that's kind of a side gig, and then like I said, they weren't blessed like I was. Not only did we have Art help us out with that catering deal, but I remember going over to my landlords and tried to pay rent, and they slid the check back and says, and that was like in July or August of 2020, and those guys, and obviously my brother and a couple partners, but they're super kind and super generous, and they knew that we were kind of screwed, and they just kind of slid the check back and said, we'll just start at the first of the year, and you could always add it to the end of your lease or something.
That's awesome.
And so I'm always super grateful, and I know that I'm blessed.
Yeah.
And so I don't take anything for granted. I mean, this is not an easy job.
It's not. I always wonder why someone that wants to retire wants to open up a restaurant or bar, and I'm like, do you know what kind of work is coming your way? But if you love it, and if that's what you want, and if you get the right people to kind of share in your dream, I mean, it can work.
Oh, and what he just said. Right, so George from AJ's.
Yeah.
After I opened up, wishes me good luck. I mean, I've been friends with him a long time. I've known him a long time. He's a super cool guy.
Yeah.
And he does badass stuff. Great place for music, and he does like tribute bands, and really he's got a cool scene out there. But I remember him. He was like, "All right, good luck to you." And then after about a year being in this and seeing the struggles and all the stuff that can go wrong and will go wrong, I said, dude, why didn't you tell me not to open up a bar? And he said, I did. You just don't listen because, you were like me when I was in. And you know what? Give him credit. It's 17, 18 years now he's been in the game.
Yeah.
But I remember telling him, like, why didn't you tell me? He's like, I did tell you no. Don't do it. You just don't listen because you're so excited about wanting to do something because you want to be in that because you love it.
Right.
But then you're no longer like the guest there all the time. Now you're
Totally different.
So
totally
the
different
experience
paradigm.
is
Like,
different. While it's still fun, I love it, and Rick loves it when people come in here and you see people smiling and they're having a good time.
yeah, and then they're like, hey, like you get to know. We've ended up hanging out with a bunch of guests too. They invite us, hey, come here, come there, and kind of you become like, you're gonna see those cool people at this spot. And one thing that's real cool about this spot is like we've never had a problem here. Never had one, no fight, nothing, because everybody here is cool. Everybody gets along with each other. That's one thing too. As a bartender, I try to introduce people that are sitting by themselves to each other, and then they strike up conversations, and kind of like it's like a cheers,
Yeah, and we have pretty simple rules. I mean, it's not really a dress code. There's an attitude code, I guess you can call it. Right?
For
Behavior
sure.
Code.
Yeah.
But I remember Diana from Kelly's.
Yeah.
That worked with my mom over there. And hey, Diana, how are you? She's over at Casa now. She's one of the managers, and they're killing it over there. And I'm happy for them because Casa those super nice family over there. At Kelly's, she had a little sign. I wish I would have kept it when we closed. Maybe she kept it, or maybe, but it had one rule, and it was right there, and it said, "If you're gonna be a turd, go lay in the yard." And I always thought I want to put that outside.
That's and that's what I love about Jason too. Like, he always defends us if somebody's acting a certain way. I mean, we have every right to cut them off. People don't understand that. Like, we work very hard. Everybody works very hard.
Yeah.
And you're dealing with multiple people, multiple personalities, and sometimes, and being in this business too, we live off tips, and that's one thing I'm going back to. Yeah, you know what? We work for tips. People don't know that. All the stuff that goes behind in that one drink.
Yeah.
Like the hour and a half we spent setting up the bar, stocking ice, running upstairs.
Even after, which...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like cleaning up the bar, cleaning up the bathroom.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of work that just goes into having that one drink ready when you come in.
Yeah.
But, of course, I can see why people don't want to tip as much if the bartender server does not have that attitude of a welcoming and a good attitude.
And I caught a glimpse of that because I was gonna say, like, Jay, you're like, hey, if you want to make pizzas and help me out, I was like, yeah, man, like I don't mind making pizzas and learning how to clean the tables or mopping the floors or whatever. And when I had gotten back from Laredo, I was like, yeah, I'll do some get some extra cash.
I mean, the thing is that, like, back in those days, if I went to Conchita's or AJ's or Cold Brew or Old Number 2 or whatever, I mean, I didn't have to stick around and clean afterwards. It's really awesome. You just go drink, pay for your drinks, and get out, right?
Yeah.
It's I mean, everybody, you gotta get people out here by 2:15.
Yeah.
And you got to pick up drinks by 2, I think, 2:15.
2:15.
And then so let's just say everybody's out by 2:30.
Yeah.
Well, we're here till 4 in the morning.
Right.
At least.
Yeah.
And so I see that, and I'm like, I think one day we were so busy, I tried to get behind, like maybe everybody, we were jammed up upstairs, and we had a lot of people downstairs, and I love it when that happens, but we didn't have enough staff, so I got behind the bar and said, I'm going to fill whatever drinks I can.
Right.
The simple, and
beers and the scotch and sodas.
Scotch and sodas, vodka Rickies, and beers, and simple stuff like that. But even then, the demand and people were like, it's coming from me on all sides.
Yeah.
And after about an hour of that, and when someone showed up or it died down and I was able to get out from there, I was like sitting outside having a cigarette, and I was like frustrated.
Yeah.
Tired and like, fuck this guy, fuck this shit. I don't ever want to be a bartender, right? So I'm sitting out there like almost
And
sweaty.
you're the owner, bro.
Yeah. Oh, that's why we have these pros. And I remember I was out there and I was just like, man, I was beat.
Yeah.
And then Danny walked out there with a big old smile on his face. He's like, what's up, man? You tired? Oh, and I was like, all right. Respect, because I never actually. You like Rick had said earlier. We don't want to. I always thought if I built something, I'm gonna build it, and so I find a way somehow save up and build it, and then bring the right team on, right? Because I don't want to be a bartender, and I'll never be a bartender. Even if I was, I'll never be as good as Rick, right? or even Danny for that matter. And so you bring people and let them shine. Like Rick's here doing me a favor because he ought to be out. Being a GM somewhere or going around the world traveling like he used to, training people. Yeah. He's doing it here because he knows that if we do good, then we're going to do good as a family.
Yeah,
right?
that's
and
awesome.
So that's
why
the
I stick
goal.
around,
So
man.
hopefully we'll keep going and keep doing well, and hopefully get even better. It just got to get more people into the live music scene, a little bit more than they are.
Yeah.
COVID changed things a little bit, and I don't know what it is. I do know that
maybe people are guarding their money a little more, being more careful instead of like,
and the economy's looking a little shaky right now.
Yeah.
And that's not a political thing. It's just that things are looking a little shaky. So some people may be saving up. Also, I did notice that during those lockdowns and nobody was really following the curfew. Like,
Yeah.
That's what I love about Texas, because
Well, I mean, maybe the bar was closed, so they couldn't come to the bar. But don't tell me they weren't. I mean, I was going to barbecues that were lasting until 5 or 6 in the morning, and there was no limit on how much you could drink at those. There's a guy that lives 4 blocks from my house, man.
Yeah.
So we'd go to Scott Cates's house, and he'd grill, and we're making 4-finger drinks over there and going all night. Well, I think some people, especially even our age, kind of rediscovered how to go booze it in the backyard, have a cot inside, and stay up late.
Yeah.
And maybe they just like.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to go out and have a good time.
Yeah.
And I don't blame them, because I had a really good time too.
Yeah.
But I got to be here because we got to sell, and I like music, and I'm not going to put a live band in my backyard or Scott's, not till
Right,
Yeah.
But we've been bringing some really good shows.
Yeah.
And just trying to we're just waiting to see what the weather did, and then some of the bands that we booked, since we got to book them 2, 3, 4 months out. So we had a good stretch where we had a bunch of little shows, but now those bands are all trying to book it where we fit in their schedule, because we're not really on the way to or from.
Yeah.
They go all.
They kind of got to go out of their way.
Yeah, if they're coming to Laredo, they're coming to Laredo just to play here.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
As opposed to like, well, we do this little circuit, right? We're gonna go Houston, and then we cut across to Austin.
There's a certain circuit they do.
Yeah.
And they're all, and then there's 2 clubs they could play in Austin, and some of these bands and then Ruby Dice. I mean, I love all the bands who played here, but Ruby Dice is the first Austin band that came down here and played.
Yeah. Shout out to Ruby Dice.
Yeah,
She was- her and her band were really, really, really awesome.
and they are awesome, man.
Yeah.
And so we're gonna do another show with them. They're out recording another album.
Yeah.
And it was all exciting because they did like a fundraiser or like a GoFundMe type thing or whatever, where they got to go record with this guy. I think it's like Gordy Quist.
Gordy Quist, yeah.
And he's from Band of Heathens.
Oh, wow.
So he's a big time guy or whatever.
Yeah.
And so. I texted them a while back, her in Callaway, and asked them like, "How's the recording going?" And they said, "Oh, cool." And they sent me like some cool pic from the studio, or whatever. So I'm really looking forward to that, and I hope that whenever they put that out, that maybe they come out and do another show here, because that girl's already built a following here. So
Yeah.
has
Yeah,
Reverend
absolutely.
Few. Madam Radar came down, and that band, amazing. But I think we booked them like back to back with another one, and it was like a holiday weekend or something. So we didn't. That was the only show we didn't sell out, and that's probably the show we should have sold out.
Yeah.
Because they're amazing. But I mean, we only saw 120 tickets for those, and I think we only sold like 100, which was still great.
Yeah.
And they were amazing. They played it like they were playing for 5,000 people.
Yeah.
And that's what you got to appreciate about these bands too. All of them. Whether it's Kike and his band with Midnight Buzz, or
Bucket of Six,
or the Hellhounds, or Bucket of Six, or Moni and with what's it? Moni got Little Sister and Wicked Tribe, and 30 Mike and the Boys,
Palacios Brothers,
Voodoo Vibe, Santa Cruz, Dollface,
Javier Richard,
Eddie Cavazos, Manny, dude. Every single one, they're pros, right? I mean, and you have to.
Oh, then we got
appreciate
Juan Sosa too from.
Sosa.
Double. Man, he's shout
fun,
out to
man.
Juan Sosa, man. Juan Sosa, Double Vision.
All these guys, when they come out and they play, it doesn't matter if we have a full house or. Sadly, sometimes there's nights where it's not super busy.
Yeah.
It's kind of a bummer for us, and it should be a bummer for them. But those bands will play it like they're playing for a full house, even though there's only 30 people.
You could see the passion that they bring for
you
the
gotta
live
give it to them
music.
because they're pros. They don't get like, oh, well, ain't nobody here, so let's half-ass it. They got
Right.
paid to do something, and they do it, and you got to respect that. And that's what I love about these musicians, because it could easily be like, well, they didn't have a big turnout tonight, so let's just half-ass it. Let's take a super long break or whatever. And they don't. They do a good job. And Curly ain't here, but he was real good at that too. With when it was El Trio.
Yeah, El Trio.
Curly, Mark.
Yeah, with Mark.
And,
Yeah, Curly. Who was the third? Oh, I can't remember.
Spanish guy.
Oh,
I
yeah,
can't think of his
yeah.
name right
I'm
now.
sorry.
He's
yeah.
a super good
Yeah,
singer, and
yeah.
he's funny. He's real
Oh,
funny.
yeah.
But anyway, all those guys, I'm lucky. I never would have met them if we didn't open this place. So I feel like I made a shit ton more friends because of this place. And 10 years from now, whether this place is here or not, or we're off doing something else, I'll know I made a lot of friends, not just the musicians, and not just. I mean, I already knew Rick, but not real well. Now he's my brother.
Yeah.
And but all the people you meet from. Just the guests.
Right.
Yeah.
People come in. Dude, we have friends. Carl.
Yeah, Carl. He's not even from here. And then
New
we
York.
had John from Tennessee.
Oh,
yeah.
John, Bobby Timms.
Dante. Everybody that
Richie.
stays at these hotels here. This is the spot they come to, and they become like our family.
Oh, yeah. Like have them on Messenger. And they might be back in New York. A guy's in Florida like, sending us a video. Like, check it out. He's almost finished building his house.
That's cool.
And so the friendships we've made is really important. So that's the best part about this.
Yeah.
I mean, the money's not so good these days. I mean, it's not terrible, but
Yeah.
it ain't 2019.
Yeah, I mean, you have to really work hard for your it's. I mean, anywhere you're gonna work hard for your money, but it's a grind, man. It's a grind because you do it all once, clean it again, and get ready to do it the next day, and it goes and man,
I think it's worth it though.
Yeah, it is worth
It's
it.
worth
Well worth it. And it's crazy. Like,
If it's something that you love,
shout out to everybody in the service industry too, because these people come out every day to work, and no matter what's going on in their lives, have to come in that door, put on a smile, and act like nothing's wrong to give everybody a good experience. And no matter what you're going through, you're just gonna have to have a good attitude. And might as well. You can't. I mean, a good attitude will kind of spread out and even to the guests notice the good attitude, hey, everybody's, it's real lively in here. So I come from that standpoint, Jason's coming from the owner standpoint, and I've worked from the bottom, from a dishwasher to all the way. I've owned my own little company and stuff like that. So I know what it's like to be at every position and the struggles that come with every single position, whether you're sacrificing financially on this end or your time on this end and your hours. And I mean, it's hard work, but in the end, it's worth it to have everybody smiling. Hey, we had a great time. Yeah. It's really, really fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a good time, man.
Yeah, it is a good time.
Yeah.
It's always a good time here at Rooftop, and always good food here at
the pizza's
Rock and Roll
amazing.
Pizzeria.
Hell yeah. I mean, it's one in it. The other.
You call it Rocket Pizza.
Everybody's always like, "Where's the pizzeria?" And we're like, "This is it."
It's
the
right
same.
here. Yeah.
It's
Well,
one in the other.
Well, it's just the kitchen. We just gave it a name. We call it Rock and Roll Pizzeria. Well, we were gonna do that, or we have this 94 Ford Explorer.
Yeah.
It's 4-wheel drive, and it's got those same mag wheels and a little bumper like the one from Jurassic Park. So we thought about painting it and calling it Jurassic Pizza. And that's got a 26-inch wide thing for the oven. So we're like, we'll make a 26-inch pizza, and we'll call it Jurassic Pizza. And we'll drop it off. And then the ideas got really bad, right? We're going to paint that Explorer, and then, that little thing in the middle that keeps the pizza, that little separator or something.
Yeah, that little table thingy.
The guy's like, we'll put a little plastic dinosaur, and there'll be little collector's items for the kids. I was like, some kid's going to choke on some little plastic Chinese dinosaur and a Chinese-made little trinket or something.
Hey, you said you wanted to buy my truck and make it a pizza truck. That still might be on the table.
Well, dude, and then after that paint job you put on, that's pretty cool. Did you see that truck?
No. Oh, the one. Yeah.
What year is that truck?
It's a 99. Yeah.
He did it himself.
Yeah.
You did?
I painted it myself.
Wow.
Right before
Jeff's a man of many talents, man.
When he was in North Carolina, were you in North Carolina?
Yeah, right before I sold the house, I turned my garage into a paint booth, and I painted my truck.
Yeah, Jeff's a man of many talents, man.
This is Jeff after about, I don't know how many of these you did.
Yeah.
Talking to his neighbor like, I'm going to paint my truck. Well, what'd you do, YouTube it?
Yeah, well, yeah. So not to get super off topic, but Mike, if you're listening, Mike was my neighbor back in North Carolina, and we were drinking one night, and we were watching Vice Grip Garage, and we were drinking, and he painted his Chevy, and he was just like, yeah, I did it with like $150 for the paint and all that shit, and I was like. I said jokingly to him, I was like, man, I could probably do that to my truck. And Mike was like, yeah, you could, like, easily. And I go, really? And since then, like, it took off. And like, a couple months later, I bought the paint, the supplies, and boom, there you go. Like,
hey, man, you got YouTube. Nowadays, the internet, you can find how to do anything.
Yeah.
Like,
but, that's for another podcast.
I come from the service industry. I could tell you pretty much whatever's involved. And then I try to do something else. YouTube. I mean, I've learned how to graphic design, edit, all this stuff, Now coming into this, hopefully, we'll get going with this, all this networking, Laredo, all this good stuff.
I do want to say, before I forget one more time, thank you again for doing this.
Yeah.
I wish you the best of luck. I think you'll do good, but you should do good because you're doing a good thing and helping local businesses promote, and you're letting people kind of get to know the people that work there, the people that run it, and that's really nice.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
It's always fascinating, kind of peeking behind the curtain. That's how a business runs. I love it. That's one thing. That was my mentality of starting something like this, and you had the same idea, and you started it, and I love it, and thank you for having me, because it just motivates me, and lets me know that, hey, I have someone I can turn to kind of ask, or share resources. Same with, if you ever need anything, you know where to find me, man.
Appreciate
you,
you, dude. Thank you for coming on. And like I said at the beginning, thank you guys for being on here. I wanted to have you, Jason, as the first episode because you've really helped me out a lot. When we bought our house here in Laredo. But just being a good friend, being a good person, you are a really good person, a really good friend.
100%.
Somebody I could always count on. I call you, you pick up the phone, and if you don't pick it up, you'll be like, hey, I'll call you right back. Super good person, and it speaks more than words.
Yeah, 100%, man.
Yeah.
Jason helped me out when I came back and I was struggling a little. He's like, I don't have much. And coming from management and all this stuff, I had to start right back from the bottom. I mean, I didn't care because I had to help feed my family.
Yeah.
But he gave me an opportunity, and now we're here starting all this stuff. And it's just crazy how a couple years ago that I was like, damn, I don't know which way is up right now. And now we're looking to start thriving, and to take it out from here and help each other pull each other up instead of push each other down, and I have big gratitude towards Jason, and good things happen to good people. So I believe if you come help support this is a business by good people, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really good people that's helping families. He lends a helping hand where he can. So 100 million shout out to you, Jason. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And is that before you're gonna close this out?
Yeah,
Before
yeah,
you
I
do,
think,
can I look at the camera and send a message to Jesse?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So Jesse, this is for you and Adriana. This is a heart, Jesse. All right, that was it.
Shout out to Jesse. He's been he's our one of our most appreciated guests. He's always helping us out here. He never hesitates. Really good guy, man. Jesse Castañeda, awesome
thank you,
cat.
Jesse.
Super nice
Yeah.
guy. Super nice guy. He bought me drinks on my birthday.
He buys everybody
Super
drinks.
nice guy.
So if you see Jesse here, I'm just kidding.
Seriously, thank you guys for coming on.
Appreciate it.
I
Let's
appreciate
give
you.
our socials one more time.
Yeah, absolutely. You
Jeff.
can check out Laredoans Behind the Business, and that's on Facebook, Instagram. This is the first episode, so it will probably more than likely be on Spotify, iTunes, and anywhere you can listen to podcasts. Thank you guys for watching and listening.
Awesome.
This is Rick Acosta.
Rick Acosta, Rick Really on Instagram. You can follow us at Rooftop Lounge on Facebook, Rock and Roll Pizzeria on Instagram and Facebook. Keep an eye out because we're planning to do a lot of fun stuff. We're giving away pizzas every Friday. Sometimes I go out during the week and give free slices away. So keep an eye out on our socials to kind of check that out. And Jason.
Exactly what Rick said.
Thanks, man. We appreciate you, Jeff.
Thanks for being a really good person, a really good friend.
100%, man. We appreciate you, brother.
Everything
This wouldn't be happening if it wasn't for you, bro. Appreciate you, bro.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, and catch you on the next episode.